Hello, Math 142. Let's graph some ellipses. Let's start with something really simple, such as x to the second over 9 plus y to the second over 4 equals 1. Not a whole bunch of work I have to do for this one because this is already set equal to 1. And so I can just, for the sake of clarity, let me rewrite this as x to the second over 3 to the second plus y to the second over 2 to the second equals 1. So I know a equals 3, b equals 2. And remember that we had c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So I have c squared equals, my a squared is of course 9 minus 4. So c squared equals 5 and c equals square root of 5. And I don't have to write plus and minus 5 because c is distance uh, from the origin to the foci. Okay, now let's graph this. And I, kx right here and y is right here. Nothing is attached to x and y in here and here, so I know this the center of this ellipse is at the origin. The value of a is 3, so I'm going to go 3 units to the right, 3 units to the left. That's good enough. And then value of b is 2, so I'll go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And so the rough sketch of this ellipse, and I hope that's good enough for you. Let's see. And okay, that's good enough. And from the origin, if I go to the right, square root of 5, I land somewhere. Square root of 5 is 2 point something, of course, so I'm somewhere here. And to the left, I'm somewhere here. And my goodness, my ellipse does not look good. Let me just maybe fix this just a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, I feel better about it now. Okay, so what is the foci? What is this value? And what is this value? Okay, this value right here is negative root 5 comma 0, and this value is positive root 5 comma 0. And of course, my major axis is right here. If you are asked to identify the vertices, of course, this vertex right here is going to be 3 comma 0, and here you have negative 3 comma 0, and right here, if you're asked to identify that, you have negative 2, 0 comma negative 2, 0 comma negative 2, and for here you have 0 comma positive 2. Okay, let's do another example, something that the major axis is not along the x axis. How about something as simple as x to the second plus 1 over 16th of y to the second minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite this as x to the second over 1 plus y to the second over 16 equals 1. So much easier to see. And one baby step would be to say that x to the second plus over 1 plus y to the second over 4 to the second equals 1. And yet maybe even a better step would be just to rewrite this as y to the second over 4 to the second plus x to the second over 1 to the second equals 1. 1 squared is 1. So now let's go ahead and, and let's find c squared. So we have c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So c squared equals 16 minus 1. So c equals square root of 15, which is 3 point something. Okay, so this one, if I were to graph uh, this one, I would go, so here's x and here's my y. So the value of a in this case is 4, but 4 is under y. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the value of b is 1. So 1 here and 1 here. Oh, and this is going to be really skinny ellipse. Okay. Okay. All right, that's good enough. And how about square root of 15, which is the distance between the origin right here and the foci, so which is 4 point something, 3 point something, because 4 squared is 16, 3 point something, 1, 2, 3 point, somewhere about here and somewhere down here. Okay, and this, what is the value of this point right here is going to be 0 comma square root of 15, and this point is going to be 0 comma negative root 15. And of course, if you are to identify the vertices in here and in here, most textbooks usually ask for the vertices related with the major axis. But some textbook also ask for all 4 of them. It's not a big deal. All you have to do is just look at your graph and identify those. Let's do something a little bit more interesting. How about something like 4y to the second plus 9x to the second minus 36 equals 0. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite this as 4y to the second plus 9x to the second equals 36. I know I need a 1 and right-hand side, so I'm going to divide by 36. So divide by 36. So I get 4y squared over 36 plus 9x to the second over 36 equals 1. So I can simplify this. This becomes y squared over 9 plus x squared over 4 equals 1. And finally, you don't have to, but it's nice to write this as y squared over 3 squared plus x squared over 2 squared equals 1. And now I can go ahead and graph this to, so my major axis is going to be along the y-axis. The minor axis is going to be along the x-axis, x and y. So go 3 up and down, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, and to the right and left 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. And so this one is not as skinny. Okay. And how about the foci? We said that c squared equals, let me give myself a little bit of room in here. Um, let me, so I have c squared equals a squared minus b squared, which equals 9 minus 4 equals 5, and c equals root 5. And so root 5 is 2 point something. So it doesn't have to be exact, something like this and something like this. And this point right here is going to be 0 root 5, and this is going to be 0 negative root 5. And let's do one that is just totally not, I mean, what I'm trying to say is something that is, the center is not at the origin. Let's do a harder one. Yes, how about something like, oh, this is a good one. X to the second plus 4x plus 4y to the second minus 8y plus 4 equals 0. I'm going to go ahead and try to fit this in one screen. I'll try my best. First of all, the first thing I'm going to say is x squared plus 4x, group them together. Here's plus 4y squared minus 8y, and put the 4 on the other side, becomes negative 4. Well, if I complete the score for x's, I need a plus 4 here, so I'm going to put plus 4 in here. To complete the score for this side, I have to actually go ahead and um, um, factor of 4 out. So let me do it in one baby step. So first, you don't have, I mean, you could do it at the same step, but let me show you everything. So here, this part actually becomes x plus 2 quantity squared. And I can rewrite this one as 4 times y squared minus 2y equals 0, because negative 4 and 4. And now if I want to complete the score inside of the second parenthesis, I need a positive 1. But since this positive 1 is going to get multiplied by this 4, I'm going to have to add, excuse me, a 4 to the right-hand side. So now this is becoming x plus 2 to the second plus 4 times y minus 1 to the second equals 4. And some of you might have to need to go back and brush your how to complete the score with these problems. Okay, now if I divide everything by 4, and right here, divide by 4, because I need a 1 in the right-hand side, I would get x plus 2 to the second over 4 plus y minus 1 to the second over, of course, let me put this equals 1, and we can cancel this, so this becomes 1. So in this case, what is, and remember that this 4 is the same as 2 to the second. This 1 is the same as 1 to the second. So a equals 2 and b equals 1. And how about c? C equals a squared minus b squared. A squared is 4 and minus 1. And so c equals square root of 3. Okay, so let me go ahead and go to the next page and graph this for you. So here is my x. And let me go to the previous page, because here, look at this. What is the center of this ellipse? The center of ellipse is minus h minus k, so it's going to be the opposite of this number, which is -2, opposite of this number, which is going to be +1. Okay, so now -2, -1, -2, and then +1 in here. So here's the center of the of this ellipse: -2, -2, and 1. The value of a we decided was from the previous page was 2, so I go um, 1 and 2. Oh, it's tangential to the y-axis, and go 2 this way, 1 and 2. And the value of b was 1, so go down 1, go up 1. So this ellipse is tangent to both x and y axis. And we decided that the value of c was square root of 3, which was 1 point something. So go to the right 1 point something in here, and go to the left 1 point something in here. Okay, so here's my major axis. If they ask me, here's my minor axis. And suppose I want to say what these points are. Of course, this right here is -4, 1. This point right here is 0, 1. This foci was let me write it up here. The value of y is 1, and the value of x is -2 plus √3. Or you could write this as √3 minus 2, doesn't matter, 1. And how about the value of this point right here? For the x-axis, I have -2 minus √3, comma, +1. Okay. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. Let's do one last example and then call it a video. So suppose I have, say, x to the second plus 3y to the second minus 12y equals -9. Okay. Well, the only thing that I have to complete the score here is the y, because x is already scored. So I'm going to write here x to the second plus 3y. Let me factor the 3 out. Y is to the second minus 4y equals -9. So the value that I need to complete the score inside of this parenthesis is a 4. But since this 4 gets multiplied by this 3, I have introduced a +12 out of nowhere. So I'm going to put +12 on the other side. So this becomes x to the second plus 3 times y minus 2 quantities squared equals 3. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3. Then I'm going to get x to the second over 3 plus 3y to y minus 2 to the second over 3 equals 1. Okay, and of course this cancels this, so I have a 1 in here. So what is the value of a? Value of a is square root of 3, because remember this was my a squared. The value of b equals to 1, and c squared equals a squared minus b squared, that equals 3 minus 1, that equals 2. So that means that if I take square root of both sides, c equals square root of 2. Let me go to the next page and graph this for you. So here's my x, and here's my y. Let me go to previous page, and what was the center? Okay, the center for this is going to be center is going to be 0, comma 2. There is, you can think of this x squared if you like. You can think of it as x plus 0 squared. Okay, so, and the opposite of this number, which is a 2, that is my center. Let me go to the next page, and 0, comma 2, and 1. Oh, okay, here is the center. The value of A was, um, go to, remember here that we said A is root 3, B is 1. So root 3, which is 1 point something, so 1 point something down, sorry, 1 point something, actually. Okay, value of A, x, y is what square root of 3, which is 1 point something about here, and then go to the other way, 0.3, and go up and down just 1, which is here and here. This really doesn't look like an ellipse. I'm not doing so good with my drawing. Okay, but let's just identify the points. First of all, the center we said was 0, comma 2. So center was 0, comma 2. Okay, my major axis is right here, which passes through um, 2. So this point right here is root 3, comma 2. This point right here is negative root 3, comma 2. And for foci, we figure that out to be square root of 2, which is from the center, it's going to be somewhere here and here. So what is this point right here is negative root 2, comma 2. And this point right here is positive root 2, comma 2. And that's good enough. Hope you enjoyed these examples. I'll talk to you soon.